Hi friends, Miss Cedarquist here. Today we are going to talk about solving systems of equations using the substitution method. Again, a system of equations is more than one equation related to another. So for those of you who are in my class, this goes on page 19 of your interactive notebook. Our language acquisition objective is to explain how to find the solution of a system of equations by using the substitution method using academic vocabulary. And our essential question, is how do you use substitution to solve a system of linear equations? All right, let's get right into example 1. Example 1 is solve systems of equations using substitution. Here are our steps for solving systems using substitution. We first need to substitute the expression from the isolated equation into the other equation. Then we are going to solve the equation for the remaining variable. And then step 3, you're going to substitute your answer from step 2 into one of the two equations. You pick your favorite one into the other equation and solve for the other variable. Okay, so what is the solution to the system of equations? We're going to do number 1 together. So it says step 1, substitute the expression from the isolated equation into the other. So what's isolated? Well, when I'm looking at number 1, I see that y is isolated. It's all by itself. It's all by its lonesome, okay? I know that y actually equals 6x plus 7. That's what y equals. It's the same thing as me saying like y equals 5. If y equals 5 and I want to check my answer, I'm going to substitute that in. But in this case, y doesn't equal 5. Y equals 6x plus 7. What I'm going to do, though, is I'm going to substitute in for y in here for what y equals. So I'm going to take this equation, this 3x minus 8, and instead of writing y, I'm going to write what y equals. And y equals 6x plus 7. But then I'm going to keep everything else the same. It's like using a substitute teacher. Your class stays the same, only your teacher changes. So everything else stayed the same except for y turned into 6x plus 7. Now I'm going to use my steps for solving equations or multiple step equations. If you guys recall, the first step to solving a multiple step equation is always to distribute. So I'm not going to combine this 3x and this 8 because they're not like terms. Instead, I'm going to distribute. So I know that negative 8 times 6 is negative 48x. I also know that negative 8 times 7 is negative 56. And then I'm going to bring down this 3x, and I'm going to bring down the equals 4. Okay, now after I distribute, let's recall, I think I combine like terms, right? So I see 3x and negative 48x, they both have an x, which means they are like terms. When I combine those, I end up with negative 45x minus 56, I'm just copying, bringing all this down, equals 4. All right, now I'm going to do the inverse of addition or subtraction. I see subtraction and the opposite of subtraction is addition, so I'm going to add 56 on either side. So I get negative 45x equals 60. Now I need to divide. So I'm going to divide both sides by negative 45. And let's see, can I reduce that? Well, I know that both of those numbers go into 5. Let's see, is there any numbers, other numbers that they go into? Let's try 5 first. Okay. If I simplify this by 5 and simplify this by 5, I get, 60 divided by 5 is 12. And then negative 45 divided by 5 is negative 9. Let's see, can I simplify that even more? I think so. Doesn't 3 go into 12 and 9? Okay, let's do that again. Divide this by 3, divide this by 3, and I get 4 over negative 3. And let's see, what were we solving for? Oh, x. So x equals negative 4 over 3. Okay, that's our first answer because our answer is always an ordered pair. So our first guy in our ordered pair, remember, is x comma y. Our first number is negative 4/3. Comma, now we need to know what y is. So we got to pick our favorite equation. You can pick the first one or you can pick the second one. I, myself, am going to pick the first one because y is already by itself and that's what I'm trying to solve for. So let's see, I'm kind of running out of room. Let's come over here. Let's put, let me do a different color. So same question, but I'm going to do y equals 6, and instead of x, I'm going to put that negative 4/3 plus 7. Okay, then I need to multiply that 6 times that negative 4/3. You can either use a calculator if you're rusty on multiplying of fractions, or you can follow along with me. I know that 6 divided by 3 is 2. So if I was canceling this out, this would become a 1 and this would become a 2, and 2 times negative 4 is negative 8. So if you are checking with your calculator, you should get a negative 8. And then I'm going to bring down that plus 7. So I get y equals that, and negative 8 plus 7 is negative 1. So my answer is negative 4/3 comma negative 1. I'm going to highlight it so that you guys know this right here is the solution. Okay? Let's do one more together. Let's do number 2. So number 2, x equals y plus 6 and x plus y equals 10. All right, so what is isolated? What's already by itself? I see that x is already isolated. It's already by itself. Well, what does x equal? Oh, x equals y plus 6. So now when I come to the second equation, instead of writing x, I'm going to write what x equals. So this is going to become, instead of x equals y plus 6. So I'm going to write y plus 6. And then I keep the rest of the equation the same. So I see next is plus y equals 10. All right, next step would be to distribute. I don't say distribute. Next step after that would be to combine like terms. I do see combining of like terms. I see that there's a y here and a y here. These can be tricky because it's just a letter. But if you have one yellow marker plus another yellow marker, you get 2 yellow markers. So y plus y, you guessed it, equals 2y. Plus 6 equals 10. Now I need to do the inverse of addition or subtraction. I see addition. Let's do the opposite of addition and subtract. So I'm subtracting 6 on either side. And then I get 2y equals 4. Divide by 2, divide by 2, y equals 2. Okay, that's my first answer, but there's always 2 in these problems. So let's get my ordered pair ready. My ordered pair is something, because this is a y. Remember, our solution's always x comma y, but this is a y, so this is going to go here. Now I need to know what x is, so I get to pick my favorite equation. It doesn't matter if you choose the first or the second. I'm going to choose the first because I know that it's going to be easier if I have something isolated, especially if that's the one I'm solving for. So choosing this first equation, I'm going to have x equals, well, what was y? Oh, y was equal to 2. And then plus 6. And then what is 2 plus 6? 8. So x equals 8. So our solution is 8 comma 2. To check our answer, all we have to do is just plug those in and see if that works. So let's see if I were to check this. Does 8 plus 2 equal 10? Sure does. Does 2 plus 6 equal 8? It sure does. So if you watched my 4-1 video, checking your answer is the exact same way as how we did it in 4-1. Okay, so number 3 is you try. And then you need to do chunk summary number 1. And I will see you in the next video. Bye!